Ready to go now at 167 pounds. It'll be Daryl Weber wrestling for the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, his first time in the finals for the national championships. He is an NCAA champ from 1996, taking on Steve Marianetti, who lost in the finals last year. Marianetti wrestles out of the New York Athletic Club. Weber is in the red, Marianetti in the blue, and this could be a good one.
Marianetti, the individual, defeated Lincoln McElravy in the NCAAs, keep him from becoming a four-time champion, has steadily moved along in his freestyle training and is now poised to become the #1 man in the country.
Gotta wonder if Lincoln wants to move up in weight here, maybe just to try to rid himself of that ill.
If he's anything like Dan Gable, he may do it, because Gable went after Owens beat him.
And a three-point move right off. Nope, now they're giving it a one. Now the referee wanted a three-point move, but it's just a one-point move for for Marianetti.
I think they indicated that that move was completed out of bounds, the one that he would have got the turn on. And I don't know. I'm not sure Lincoln may want to go up. Marianetti is, as you said, Jeff, has steadily improved. And he was that way in college, showed steady improvement. I think he's going to really be a force in the future in freestyle wrestling.
He was only one of 2 U.S. athletes to win at the Pan Am Championships.
Out of bounds, Marianetti pushes Weber, and they do agree on another point for Steve Marianetti.
These two have never met, at least in the last year. These two have no head-to-head matchups, so it's going to be tough to see in terms of history how these two are going to approach each other.
Yeah, and certainly I don't think they've wrestled in freestyle, and it's always an interesting match when you get to an opportunity to wrestle a guy at this level that you haven't wrestled, and you find out what his techniques are. You can watch him on tape, but it really doesn't tell you the story.
Marianetti was the 1998 Pan Am champion. That was a very impressive win. And all 3 of his points coming in very similar fashion. He now leads 3-0.
And the reason he scored that, he got a caution because Weber went out of bounds while under attack. So it's a caution with the 1 point for the takedown. It puts him at that 3-point plateau.
And that technique he's executing, there's nothing fancy. He's just getting the head on the neck and grabbing the outside single and just driving. I mean, he is so strong and so physically powerful an athlete. He's able to score and drive Weber out of bounds.
And you mentioned in an earlier match, instead of just pushing him out of bounds, he went to finish the takedown as they went out of bounds, and that really is the impetus that allows the referees to give you that point.
And really, you never know what the referees might call. It's a judgment call, but it's only in your best interest to complete the move and try and finish it and look like you're scoring.
Now back to center on their feet. Daryl Weber in the red, Steve Marianetti in the blue. It's Marianetti with a 3-0 lead with 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go in this 5-minute matchup. Marianetti defeated Pat Smith in the semifinals, 3-0. He defeated Tony Roby in the quarters, and then he had a couple of technical falls to start out his chance to go to these finals here at the national championships.
Well, I don't want to be the person that brings on a jinx, but Jim, we have not had an overtime match. And quite often we have, and I really think this speaks highly of the skills of these athletes. They're going after one another, and they realize, hey, I can win in regulation. I could put 3 points on the board.
And that is somewhat unusual, because sometimes in national finals with this much on the line, the guys wrestle a little bit more conservatively and go out not to lose. These guys we've seen tonight are going out to win.
I wonder if Daryl Weber feels he's wrestled his best match so far in the semifinals. He defeated the #1 seed, Dan St. John, 6-2. Sometimes when you get that type of win in the semifinals, is it enough for some guys to get to the finals?
Sometimes, and he hasn't been to this level before, and sometimes you may have a letdown. He beat the guy that he thought he had to beat to win the national championship. Dan St. John won the tournament last year, the World Team Trials, went to the World Championships, really had a good World Cup representing the United States, and he was the guy to beat. And Daryl Weber did that, but he's kind of been on his heels in this match.
And style has a lot to do with it as well. Sometimes styles match up where your offense does fit well against what on paper seems to be a superior athlete. And as I look at this, I think Marianetti has controlled the tie and never really allowed Weber, who has a great double leg, to even get it started. And there, again, the tie, driving the hand past the head, coming in behind it and turning.
They got the 3 points that time. And it's a 6-0 lead now for Steve Marianetti. He had a shot at that 3-point move earlier on, but they had negated the three-point move, gave him the one right there.
And Weber's not coming. Yeah, there he came inside the arm. When you look at Marianetti's hand on his head, look how Weber's trying to, there he goes inside the arm to take it off. When you reach around it, you allow your opponent to control you.
And Marianetti has had the inside collar tie with his elbow into the chest, either on the left or right-hand side the entire match. Weber's not been able to get underneath and penetrate nor go around the outside.
Marianetti wants a timeout. May have been poked in the eye.
I think what happened there was Weber brought his head up after that bad shot, and as he did, it just grazed the face of Marianetti, and it looks like it's
got
a contact there.
Yeah, there you see the contact lens just on the finger of Steve Marianetti. And talk about muscle control, trying to get that back in at this point of a national championship. And we'll be back to finish this matchup at 167 pounds in just a moment. Welcome back to the 1998 U.S. National Wrestling Championships. Steve Marianetti in the blue taking on Daryl Weber in the red. Marianetti with a 6-0 lead with 1 minute to go.
And again, the one thing that stands out is the inside collar tie by Marianetti, and Weber doing nothing to remove it and still try to shoot. And I find that hard to believe, that you feel you can go right through an arm that's holding the head where the rest of the body follows, and think you're going to score points with that.
Well, sometimes you have a focus on what you want to do, and the match goes differently, and you're so focused on what your game plan, it's hard to change up. I'm sure he'll go back, look at this tape, and make some adjustments. But again, we have two new guys in this finals, like we've had in so many finals tonight, and I think really change is the constant this year. And it's good, I think, for USA Wrestling that we're getting a lot of new guys at this level now instead of the year of the Olympics.
That's correct. I was going to say, what happens if this happened the year before the Olympics? Now that changes in a time when it's difficult for them to get the experience they need for the Olympic Games. Happening this far out, these guys go to the World Championships, and they're now introduced to that level. They have the experience going to Sydney.
And you'd really like 2 years of major international competitions prior to Sydney for your top guys.
We have had some come out right out of college, like Les Gutches and such, who've gone on Lee Kemp to win world titles right out of college, but rare thing.
I think it hurt Les wrestling in the Olympics was his first major international meet.
Steve Marianetti with a 6-0 lead over Daryl Weber comes up with a shutout victory. At 167 pounds, Marianetti used 3 single-point takedowns and then a big 3-point takedown late in the match. And Steve Marianetti right there from the New York Athletic Club with a 6-0 victory over Daryl Weber.
Beautiful, that pull by, that was great. He controlled the tie all match long, and there he pulled the arm by his head, got behind and drove Weber directly to his back. 3-pointer, 6-0 win for Marianetti.
And Marianetti has joined Jim Scheer.